Right, so to get the fuel pump out without taking out this housing from the tank, which is a pig of a job, I don't recommend anyone does it. You first want to flip over this lid and you want to take this off. You want to disconnect this from the lid, and that's just held in there by 2 bolts, which I proceeded to lose the nut for because this is a donor part and I can't keep track of small hardware very well. Once you take that off, and you'll have these little parts, which is, well, talk about small hardware, which is this little plasticky thing and a little O-ring you probably want to hold on to. So you've got that off, you'll need to disconnect. He'll have a wire connecting it to the pump. Disconnect that wire from the pump. Then you will want to disconnect the pump from this lid. You don't need to disconnect the pump, you just need to disconnect the fuel level sensor. Just the fuel level sensor from the lid with the universal clip unclipper. Slide it under there, pop that little clip up. Once you've got that undone, then the pump can lift free from the housing. You've got 1, 2, 3 clips which you can just compress with your fingers like so. 1, 2, 3, and once you've done that, the pump should lift free from the housing like so. Now that's all you need to replace. When you go to replace it, you will have another one of these housings inside the tank. Reconnect this to the lid like so, using these little bits of hardware, and once you've done that, you can just slide this a new pump into the same housing. Bob's your uncle, you're done. And you don't need to fuck with these absolutely cunty clips. These clips ruined my life, man. They brought me to tears. Alright, now similarly, if you're doing the fuel pump level just disconnects from the housing like so. This is one clip, and you can just slide a new one in. It is new. Right, over to the car. So the fuel pump is underneath the back seat here, and the back seat is held on with 2 little clips. I don't know how well you can see that, but these clips, they come on, focus. These clips here absolutely suck. I still haven't actually got the clips back on properly. They're like little hoops that go, and then this thing is like a hook, and you've got to push them back and push them down and over the hook to get them out. They're an absolute pain in the ass, and I haven't even bothered to put them back on because frankly I don't think they're that necessary. You're going to be sitting on this thing, so it's going to be held in place anyway. Once you've got that off, you lift up the seat and you push it back, and you can lift it out.
Pull the seat up and forward while pushing down at the back.
I'm going to pop you over here and we'll open it. Filming by yourself is really fucking hard, I gotta tell you. Underneath the back seat, this is the fuel pump assembly. Here sits in this little porthole, and it's held in by a locking ring. First things we're going to do is we want to disconnect the fuel send and receive lines, this pluggy thing.
The wiring harness plug.
So here's a universal clip disconnector tool. We're just going to pop them in. The easiest way I've found of doing them is just actually coming through the back here. You can just, there's some blue plastic clips, and you can just push them down, push them under. There you go. And if it takes much more than that to disconnect, you're doing something wrong. Same with this one, and there'll be a bit of petrol that sprays everywhere. You can get these all fancy fucking plugs that stop that from happening, but I'm fucking poor and I'm not buying no fucking fancy fucking plugs. Cool, okay, got those disconnected. Same deal with the plug. It's just this, I don't know if you can see it in the video, there's just this plastic clip here. Just lift that up over its little thing, disconnect it. Cool. Alright, now we've got poke those to the side where they won't get in the way. Fuck off. Fucking piss off, cunt. Oh, there we go. Locking ring.
When applying the special tool KM797, make sure it's seated safely. Disengage the locking ring by twisting anti-clockwise.
So here's a better view of what we're dealing with. As we can see, this locking ring is a metal ring. Don't know if you can see. I mean, you'll probably be looking at the same one. It's just held under there, these little tabs. And you've got to rotate it. To undo it, you've got to rotate it anti-clockwise by about, probably about an inch. Now these are on real tight, and if they have a bit of rust on them, they're on even tighter. So the way I recommend getting them off is using KLM like 797 locking ring disconnector tool, which in my case I ordered it and came in the mail and it looks a bit like this. Funny that. Now if it's really stuck on there, soak it overnight in WD-40 or CRC, because this thing can be on really fucking tight. Let's crack this thing open. Just pop your punch here, just give it a couple gentle whacks with the hammer and gently open. G'day mate.
What's that?
Fuel pump.
Back there?
Yeah.
Random.
Alright, now you've used your special KLM 797 fuel pump unlocking ring tool. Took your locking ring off, and you can now just get in there with some your grubby fucking fingers and yoink it up. Now there's a bit of a rubber seal. Alright, so we got the locking ring off and this thing just lifts out. Now I'm just here to replace this thing, the fuel level dongle, deadly dongle. Woo! Cool. Right, so our best friend, universal clip disconnector tool. Slide them up in here and disconnect this bastard here. Oh, come on. Come on. Disconnect that. Alright, and then you want to lift this bit out. Now, very annoying design. They didn't quite make the porthole big enough to get it out properly. So there's a lot of I think you have to get rid of this O-ring. A lot of fucking wiggling will ensue. Ah, there you go. Petrol. Yum. Alright, new one in. Come on, come on. Don't be a bitch. Alright. It's in. Alright, and then reconnect the plug. Don't plug it through the outside of the O-ring, that will be terrible. Alright, now, getting this O-ring back on is a bit of a mission. It's a bit of a fucking nightmare, because there's always a spot that will pop up. So you've just gotta fucking get it seated. Once you've got it seated though, yeah, she's alright. Get it seated, that will just go back on there. Now before you reconnect those hoses and plugs, you want to put the locking ring back on here, and we want to use a KLM 797 locking ring wrench tool to just gently tap this motherfucker back into position. Right, once you've got it back in position, the power goes straight back in there like that. The send should just go straight back in there. The other one straight back into there, and that's all sealed up, ready to go. Alright, you probably need to put that back on there like so. Then back seat back on and you're ready to go. But before we do that, let's check out our handiwork. So back in the front of the car, we will take our little key, we'll pop it in the ignition, turn it up, should hear the fuel pump prime, and the little meter now is reading what it's properly meant to be reading. Crank her back up, we're good to go.